What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday, and it's going to be a doozy of a show. Will we even get to sports trivia, or will we just talk so many things about
That's
the
an hour
DeAndre
three,
Hopkins?
Austin. That's an hour three.
Yes, the hour three, the sports trivia. But wow, everybody woke up this morning and saw that DeAndre Hopkins traded from the Titans to the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll go over the details of this, what we know from A to Z Sports behind the scenes of how this happened and what transpired since the game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. What all does this mean? And were the Titans right or wrong to do this? We can grade the trade. We can talk about whose fault it was. We can talk about what it means for the quarterback. There's so many things, Easton. So many things right now to dive into. This feels like a post-game show that we're doing here as it's always nice to wake up and see the news at 6 a.m. So we get to put all of our things together and then have a couple hours to prepare. But this
or get on a show meeting call at 7:30 and find out,
yes,
like I did, just waking up. Yeah,
yes.
I'm
Easton
like, what should we talk about today? And you guys are like, where have you been? What do you mean? What should we talk about today? I'm like, what happened? I don't know. I have a baby at home. I've been up all night. I don't know what happened.
All right, so DeAndre Hopkins traded the Chiefs early this morning, so we're going to react to all of it. If we have time for sports trivia, we will get to sports trivia. If we don't have time for sports trivia, then we won't get to sports trivia. That's how stuff works on big breaking news days. But Easton, tell the people what they got to do here before we dive in and start talking all things DeAndre Hopkins trade.
Folks, we need you today. Hit that like button. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, that thumbs up button is the biggest way that you can help us out this morning. And we also want to hear from you guys in the comments. So jump in that comment section like American Toff and Richie and Cody and Rooney and Cody, who says he hopes it's not Easton today because he has a punchable face. Too bad, so sad, Cody. It is Easton today.
You know what? It's a good thing. Let me pause you real quick, and I'll let you pick it back up. It's a good thing it's Easton today. I'll just say that much.
You know what? I concur, and we'll get into all that. Yeah, so hit that like button. Hit that like button for us today. Like the show. Share it with a friend. Hit that copy link button. Text it to somebody who you know is in on the DeAndre Hopkins trade discussion this morning as my camera tries to focus, and we'll get the show rolling here.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. And you can do that by getting a quote today by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And TDOT, be part of the solution to end littering across Tennessee by visiting their campaign for NobodyTrashesTennessee.com. So, Easton, the news of the morning is that the Tennessee Titans are finalizing, not finalized yet, but finalizing a trade to send wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs in exchange for a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick. So a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick. I don't know for a fact, but I have seen some other reporting. I believe Albert Breer was a part of this, among some others, that we saw with the Davante Adams trade with the Raiders and Jets last week, that part of that trade was if Davante Adams is on the active roster for an AFC championship game or a Super Bowl, then that draft pick becomes better for the Raiders. My guess is that the Titans better make that thing as high as they possibly can if the Kansas City Chiefs are on their 3rd straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing this too, that people are just saying conditions are going to involve playing time, which, okay, yep. How many games is he playing? How many catches does he have? That's all pretty standard operating procedure. And then whether or not he plays in a Super Bowl, a good team to have to make that bet with, for sure. But if that is literally the condition to turn it from a 5th into a 4th, that he has to win a Super Bowl.
No, it's got to be more than that.
I don't think it's got to be, right? That, by the way, it's got like if that's an escalator to be, a 3rd or something that would not hurt, cool. But if it's literally that, that's crazy. That's bad business. I'm hoping that's not what the Titans have done.
And I don't think Rand Carthon, I don't think is in the business of doing bad business. I think, look, there's a lot of different things
And I've seen a lot of people say, well, who cares? Now that they have him, they're going to win one. So I mean, it is still flukiness to this. So you shouldn't make that bet. You should not.
For sure. Absolutely. So Easton, I mentioned in our cold open that I am glad that you are the person that we have on this show today. I did actually see this from Diana Rossini. So before we do this, this is from Diana Rossini. While the Titans and Chiefs continue to iron out the details of the trade, the Chiefs are expecting DeAndre Hopkins to land in Kansas City later today. And the hope is to get him ready to play on Sunday against those Las Vegas Raiders, per sources. So it's not done, but D-Hop is probably already getting his plane set up. And so, look, I think I will let you, Easton, because you and I were texting fairly late last night, later than we normally text. I mean, it was 10:30. It was approaching 11 p.m. that you and I were texting about several Titans-related things. But what all did you kind of gather after that Buffalo Bills loss by the Titans with the DeAndre Hopkins situation?
Yeah, I had some conversations last night. Knew as of last night that the Titans were actively looking to move him, but you got to have a partner to do that dance. And
That's
I didn't
two to tango, as they say.
That's right. And I didn't expect them to find one between me having a conversation last night and waking up this morning, but good on them for doing so. This makes all the sense in the world on paper for them to make this trade. It sucks for the rest of the league, frankly, that it has to be the Chiefs. I think, just apologies to everybody else for that, but business is business. We're going to talk about this trade and grade it, but I do think that just in general, moving him, there's a reason why I said a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week now, that he was their most tradable asset. He was. They clearly felt that way. We're going to talk further about what more could come from the Titans in terms of trading, being a fire sale at the deadline. But last night knew that they were looking to move him. Knew that there was some of the weirdness from Buffalo was not unfounded from folks that are, that we all watched the broadcast. We saw the body language on the sideline. We saw the videos of him from the locker room. It was strange. It was just a little bit off, and that was not unfounded. Naturally he saw the trades that went down last week, and it's kind of the SpongeBob meme, Squidward looking from the window as the guys are playing outside. He saw these other older receivers in the league going to much better situations, like Devontae Adams and Cooper
Mark scored a touchdown with his new team in the game that DeAndre Hopkins watched from the sideline.
Right, who he literally saw last weekend. So good for DeAndre. Frankly, he deserved better than what the Titans have been providing him. And it sucks for the team and it sucks for us that he has to go, but he absolutely deserves this opportunity. And I'm surprised they got it done as quickly as they did.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. And I will say this, I'm stepping out on a ledge, and this is my educated guess on what happened. The Tennessee Titans were not going to trade DeAndre Hopkins until DeAndre Hopkins wanted to be traded. Mm-hmm. And I think DeAndre Hopkins mid-game decided he wants out of this place. And I don't think that has anything to do with Brian Callahan. I don't think that has anything to do with the Tennessee Titans, really. Like, I think he was.
I don't think it's personal at all.
I do not think it's personal whatsoever. I truly, when DeAndre Hopkins said this is the happiest he's ever been, which was in July or August, I honestly believe him. And I still believed him because, Sam and I got to interact with D-Hop on September 1st. September 1st, he held his youth football camp. He went so far out of his way to make that youth football camp still happen. Because if you remember, guys, the entire month of August, the city of Nashville got 0 rain, 0.0 rain.
That's right.
And then on September 1st, it made up for all of that rain.
They got all the rain
for that whole month. And DeAndre Hopkins' football camp was supposed to be at the stadium. Sam and I were there. It was so many lightning delays, and Diop had to delay that thing. And he made sure that he called Rand Carthon, and that Rand Carthon did what he had to do to call the right people to get the bubble opened up so DeAndre Hopkins could take about 300 kids and their parents from the stadium to the practice facility to have them have a camp experience that they paid for. And DeAndre Hopkins and several teammates, Calvin Ridley, Mason Rudolph, Tajay Spears, Otis Reese, I'm missing some others that were there, all did that with him. So this is nothing personal at all, I don't think, whatsoever. I think this is literally DeAndre Hopkins turning 32 years old on the last year of his contract, seeing a 1-5 start at that point in the game where I think, again, me thinking, I think DeAndre Hopkins removed himself from that football game. He had his one catch to continue his consecutive catch streak, which I believe is second longest in the NFL. If not the second longest, it's pretty damn close. I don't know if he's ever had a -2 yard game before in his career, but I believe that DeAndre Hopkins was the one that started the trade conversations, and the Tennessee Titans obliged, just like I believe that Jamal Adams was the one who wanted to get cut and the Titans obliged on his birthday. So, last week. So DeAndre Hopkins decided that he no longer wanted to be with the Titans football team because the football team was going nowhere and DeAndre Hopkins needs to go somewhere. That is my take.
Yes. And can you blame him?
No.
You know, he's a future Hall of Fame player. He has not had I'm trying to think of what the closest he's gotten to a ring is in his career.
I believe it is the 2019 AFC divisional playoff game where the Chiefs had the 24-0 lead. I'm sorry, the Texans had the 24-0 lead over the Chiefs, and the Titans were sitting at home being like, "Oh my gosh, are the Titans going to play the Texans in the AFC title game?"
Right.
At home. No, it wasn't. It was
going to be in Texas. Yeah, it's going to be in Houston.
Yeah, but still, like I remember Zach and I at that point, we were thinking, "Oh, we're going to cover the Super Bowl." Because
I know it's crazy.
If the Titans are playing those 2019 Texans, the Titans are going to the Super Bowl. And that obviously didn't happen because Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes things. And now Patrick Mahomes will be DeAndre Hopkins' new teammate. So I want to say the divisional round is the closest.
You're totally right. That has to be it. That has to be. So ultimately not all that close. And so this gives him by far his best chance, and he deserves that. So I guess where do we want to go from here? Do we want to talk about the compensation? Do we want to talk about the process here?
Let's ask this question to the audience because it is it's a right or wrong answer. And so you guys can take everything into consideration. It's the D-Hop attitude that you saw on Sunday. And I also want to say this. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins had an attitude problem until Sunday in the fourth quarter. And if you want to call that an attitude problem, you can. But the Titans, and just to flash the graphic up again of what the Titans are expected to get in return for future Hall of Fame wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, going to the Chiefs, and he's expected to be in Kansas City later today, as Diana Rossini reported, to play against the Raiders on Sunday. The Titans are going to get a 5th-round pick that can become a 4th-round pick. That's via Ian Rappaport. We're still trying to figure out all the different things that go into that. But let's ask the question pretty simply, right or wrong? And there's layers to this. I want you guys to listen to every word of this question. Right or wrong for the Titans to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a 4th or 5th round draft pick? So all of that goes into consideration for your answer. And as Daniel says, the end of the 5th, right? Like, where are the Chiefs going to be drafting, right? So right or wrong to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs and then for a 4th or a 5th round draft pick. So we'll send Easton to the chat here in a second. A lot of comments to read, I see already. But let me go ahead and tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. There is no wrong way to reach out to Farm Bureau Health Plans. Actually, the wrong way is to not use our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. If you want to, you can DM me, and I will give you the direct email to the contact to help you get a head start on that.
Austin Stanley, insurance agent. He's your guy now.
DMs are open on Twitter. If you want to DM me, I will give you the direct email contact. I haven't done that since August, but we can do that again today. And Farm Bureau Health Plans, how you can save money on your health coverage and get better coverage for it. fbhp.com/ATOZ or DM me on Twitter at AustinStanley81 if you feel like it for that. But look, you can lower your rate, get better coverage. Zach Bingham saved 20% a month on his health coverage 3 years ago when he signed up. The savings are always there with Farm Bureau Health Plans. So don't have to pay out of pocket for dentists. Don't pay out of pocket for your vision coverage if you're somebody that needs that. But make sure you find the right price and the right plan for you. Farm Bureau Health Plan, serving Tennesseans for 78 years across the entire state. FBHP.com/ATOZ.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Folks, sign up using our bonus code ATOZ Sports today and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Whether you're cheering on the Titans at the stadium or watching the game at your favorite Music City sports bar, you're always going to be able to get in on the action with BetMGM because that app is right in the palm of your hands. Nothing better than a Titans win. There's nothing like the thrill of winning at BetMGM. Enjoy the best parlay selection options, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, and so much more. Download that BetMGM app today. Sign up using our bonus code ATOZ Sports and experience the football season like never before. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans.
All right, Easton, I will send you the chat. I want you to read as many comments as you possibly can because a lot of Titans fans are in here. So buckle up, everybody. But I think this is a very important poll. I'm about to put up the poll on YouTube so we can get the full thing. But right or wrong for the Tennessee Titans to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, the team is important here, and the compensation for either a 4th or a 5th round draft pick. We do not know what levers will be in place for it to become a 4th round pick yet. But right or wrong to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a 4th or 5th round pick. What are you seeing in that chat on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch? By the way, like the show, like the show, like the show. Easton, away you go.
Adam says right. Willie says right. Tornado Freak says wrong in all caps. Jason and Richie, Isaac, and Andre all say right. Drew, once again, all caps, wrong. The wrong folks are adamant about how wrong this was. Right from Curtis and Martin, Daniel, and Kendall. James says it was 100% right. Titans Kyle, right move, wrong compensation. Malachi, Jacoby, Soul Feels, Alex all think it's right. Ugly RJ, man, everybody that's wrong thinks all caps wrong. Very strongly they feel that this was the wrong decision. Wrong from IR Hoshi and Jay Lee. Right from Bork. Wrong from Dad to the Bone because you never trade with the Chiefs. Fair enough. Jerome says right. Clayton and DD49 and Cause66. Oh, excuse me. Clayton and DD right. Cause66 wrong. Michael right. Rashid right. We could be here all day giving you these rights and wrongs, but clearly the majority of folks, maybe 3/4 of folks, believe this was the right decision for the Titans to make. And those folks are correct.
So you think 3/4 is what you saw from the chat? About 3/4.
Like, yeah, I think 3/4 of folks agree this is the correct decision for the Titans to make.
Okay, so the YouTube poll has only been up for like either 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
It has not flipped over to 2 minutes ago yet. There's over 100 votes, and it is 64% right.
Okay.
So
the majority clearly is right here.
Yes. So Easton, what say you?
I say the majority is correct. The majority is obviously correct. The Titans, listen, we're going to talk about what this means for the Levis experiment in a moment, and that's a big part of this. But just in terms of this organization, where they are at today, what they need to be focused on, which is the future, they need to get value for a 32-year-old receiver on an expiring contract who's been battling a knee issue all year. That's not on paper a guy that's super easy to get value for in general. Now, when they happen to be DeAndre Hopkins, a future Hall of Fame receiver, and still got that old man swag, like dude can impact the game and is one of the most plug-and playable players, I think, in the entire league, you're going to get value for him. But on paper, again, 32 years old, battling a knee injury all year on an expiring contract. Other teams aren't lining up to give you a ton of value there. And, I have heard from Brian Callahan before that something that sticks with him when it comes to trading players is something that an old friend of his, Mike Brown, the owner
his old boss,
old boss, now a friend, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Mike Brown, owner of the Bengals, has famously said, "I'm not in the business of making other teams better." And so that's something that you always have to keep in mind. Not being desperate to move somebody and in the process not getting good enough value to justify making another team better, which is what the Titans did today. They have made the Chiefs a better team, but what they got in return is extremely valuable to them. And they are now up to, well, how many picks? They've got a 1, 2, 4, a 4 or a 5, 5, 6, 7. So they're back up to 7 picks in 2025. If anybody read Paul Kaharski's in-depth article with Chad Brinker, which was a week or two ago. He was talking about how he and Rand and the Titans front office, they want to be volume shooters in the draft, and they'd like to have at least 8 picks in every draft going forward. That's their vision. And they're a group that, Rand Carthon, his whole career has proven they don't have to be day 1 or day 2 picks for him to get guys that are impact players, right? We're seeing Jarvis Brownlee Jr., an emerging star. We're seeing Jaquan Jackson, who's about to get a lot more action in his rookie season as a 6th round pick. Both of the 7th round picks in Harrell and James
Williams, yeah.
Right, James Williams. So those guys are playing snap. I heard their names on the broadcast in Buffalo last week.
James Williams, you heard it because he had a holding penalty on special teams. But still, I mean,
let me spin my narrative, Austin. Come on. These are players that are, as rookies, making an impact in their day 3 picks. So I said this on the show a couple weeks ago. Don't let anybody tell you that a 4th or a 5th round pick is nothing. It's a 4th round pick. It's a day 3 pick. Who cares? You should care, because this front office has proven they can go and find Jarvis Brownlee Juniors of the world in the 5th round. They can find starters in that 4th or 5th round. It is doable. It's proof of concept for more than 1 year now from Rand Carthon. So they did the right thing moving DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm glad they got compensation for a guy that they weren't going to get anything for at the end of the year.
Yeah, because look, we spent a lot of the summer saying, we, as in the general Titans circles, hey, do you extend DeAndre Hopkins now? Because you watched Will Levis throw a bunch of touchdowns to him as a rookie quarterback, and Diop was having a lot of fun. He was doing things around Nashville. He was all about the city. Do you extend him now? And they did not, because of I think the MCL injury kind of blew up any potential of that. And by the way, I don't want to completely slander James Williams' name, because Zombie Creed correctly chimed in, says he almost blocked the punt. So that is correct. And Jalen Harrell did have a tackle for loss on Josh Allen in that game too. That was a hell of a play. So look, Rand Carthon has proven that he is a very good day 3 drafter. So, all right, I'm about to answer the question. I do want to update the YouTube poll. By the way, hit that like button, like the show, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube.
Not saying enough likes. Come on, get to the rookie numbers. Let's get those numbers up.
So the poll, right or wrong for the Titans to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a 4th or 5th round pick. 71% now says right, 29% wrong. I am going to say wrong, Easton. Not trading DeAndre Hopkins being wrong, because I do think the writing was on the wall. As I said to start the show, I believe the Tennessee Titans were not going to trade DeAndre Hopkins until DeAndre Hopkins wanted to be traded. And I think that happened in the 4th quarter in Buffalo, Orchard Park. Diop, soreness, my ass. Soreness, that was really bad phrasing. There was a comma in there, I promise.
Check, clip that.
DeAndre Hopkins did not want to be traded until then. And DeAndre Hopkins got what he needed and got what honestly he deserved. But I'd say wrong, because I think the Titans could have waited a little bit and not done what you said Brian Callahan told you once before, of being in the business of making other teams better, being in the business of making back-to-back Super Bowl champions better, because there are so many teams now that would want a wide receiver like DeAndre Hopkins because of injuries that happened on Sunday in the NFC, and that are not the Death Star of the Chiefs. There are 2 other teams, right? And 2 other teams that do have Super Bowl or at least deep runs in the playoff aspirations. The Niners lost Brandon Ayuk to a torn ACL.
One for sure Super Bowl, the other
Deebo
one definitely
Samuels was in the hospital with freaking pneumonia.
Dude, I know. Crazy.
And that's insane. I saw a TikTok of a kid crying because he's like, my fantasy team's all hurt and Deebo's in the hospital. Which is hilarious. But
oh no.
The Niners, and look, Brandon Ayuk and DeAndre Hopkins are super different people and super different wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins is closer to Juwan Jennings as a wide receiver type than he is Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
And so, but I also look at what happened Monday night for Tampa, and that you had not 1, but 2 wide receivers go down there too, with Chris Godwin is out for a long time and Mike Evans is out for less time, but Mike Evans at least out through week 11 was the early reports of when the Tampa bye week is. And so why would you trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, who all of the Chiefs have done since the 2017 draft is dunk on other NFL teams via trade, starting with the Buffalo Bills and the Patrick Mahomes trade, right? And so I think again, right to trade DeAndre Hopkins, wrong to trade DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. At least get more. At least get a fourth that could be a third, maybe.
So let me ask you that. What's more bothersome? Who he's going to or what they got?
Both, because I feel like
no. What's more bothersome?
The team.
Okay.
Because I could say if you use your leverage and look, Devontae Adams moved, Amari Cooper moved. Outside of DeAndre Hopkins, who's the other wide receiver that's attainable for the Chiefs in the league?
Cooper Kupp.
And there's a big deal with this, right? Because the Chiefs did call and talk to the Rams about Cooper Kupp. There's a caveat to this. The Titans, because I did see, I think our girl Patricia asked this question. Easton, can you provide the contract details? Fans are saying the Titans have a cap hit. The Titans reportedly are taking and eating a decent amount of the salary on DeAndre Hopkins' deal this year. Yep. So the Titans are really not saving that much money.
They don't need to, for what it's worth. That's not really a big deal.
The Chiefs, the Cooper Kupp's deal this year is way more expensive than DeAndre Hopkins. And so that's what stopped Cooper Kupp from being a Kansas City Chief. And so if you like, the Titans had the leverage here. I don't think they used the leverage to their benefit enough. I think they could have gotten more out of the Chiefs than what they got for DeAndre Hopkins, because knowing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers desperately need somebody and the Niners desperately need somebody. And so that's why I say I think it was a bad deal. I think it was a bad trade deal by the Titans.
Austin, at risk of offending you, I kind of think you're talking out of two sides of your mouth on this.
Am I? Okay, that's fair.
I think so, because I'm old enough to remember you talking about I think it was last week, about how you were pretty certain the Chiefs didn't feel like they needed anybody. So what happened? Because I think that's what happened here. I think the Chiefs were willing to keep going without him. I think this was hey, we'll take him if at the right price, but we don't need DeAndre Hopkins. Chiefs, I kind of think that's what it was. I think they were in more of a leverage situation than the Titans in this.
I think that's a fair thing to say, but like the Chiefs proved that they, again, and I was using the information and conversations that I've had with Charles Goldman, who's our Chiefs writer, and
which I think were correct for what it's worth.
Yes, and Charles has said, like, he's poked around, like the Chiefs don't think they need anything. They might want something, but do they need something?
They had Kareem Hunt and the ghost of Juju Smith-Schuster, and they're just rolling. They don't care.
It was the whole thing of like, I don't know if this might be showing my privilege, but when I was a kid, it's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? What do you need? What do you need for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? What's the difference in those two things? And so I think the Chiefs don't need DeAndre Hopkins at the trade deadline, but did they want him at this point? Yes, obviously. Sure. And so they also had more injuries that continue to pile up around their roster, and they're just continuing to get decimated. So I think Juju got dinged up a little bit. Dinged up. So that was new, right? That Juju Smith-Schuster getting banged up, dinged up was after I mentioned the Chiefs situation from a week ago. So
I'm kind of scared for D-Hop now, for what it's worth, because every receiver that has gone to Kansas City has gotten hurt recently. Stay healthy, DeAndre.
Yeah. And bad hammy for
Hollywood Smith goes down, and Rashee Rice goes down, and Juju goes down.
Yeah,
please don't be the next, DeAndre.
It's yeah. Look, I like DeAndre Hopkins personally. I think he's an interesting guy. He's a very intimidating person. He's got this aura about him that's just different. And I think people that have been around D-Hop would agree. But I think, again, bad deal. I would not. I mean, we can jump into this if you want to grade the deal. Like, again, I'm not against the moving of DeAndre Hopkins at this point, but like it's the same. I think this is a similar feeling. Actually less, because Buck Rising reported this time last year that the Baltimore Ravens were really the only team interested in acquiring Derrick Henry via trade midseason. And I think if the Titans traded Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens in the middle of another Lamar Jackson MVP year, would that have been worse than letting him walk in free agency? I could see the perception could be worse. Like, I know you get something back for trading Derrick Henry. because you don't have anything right now other
Mhm.
than watching him doing 2020 things in Baltimore,
Mhm.
in 2019 things, but agreeing, like, playing ball with the Ravens might have been worse to the fan base of a first year GM. I think
Sure.
I think the Titans were right to get something for D-Hop, and they didn't get something for Derek. It's you're playing with the Death Star.
Sure. I'm seeing a ton of people saying right to move him, wrong compensation.
And wrong team.
I can't know that I know, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing more folks say that they didn't get enough, more so than I can't believe it was the Chiefs. In fact, I've seen a handful of people comment on my Twitter posts like, well, thank God it was the Chiefs and not the Ravens, which is a whole nother conversation. I think it's crazy, but Titans fans obviously hate the Ravens much more than the Chiefs.
Yes.
I can't know this for sure. I wish I could definitively tell you. Maybe we'll find out for sure. Guys, for the third time today, he's a 32-year-old on an expiring contract that is dealing with knee issues. I am so certain you were not getting more than an early-ish day 3 pick. You were not getting a day 2 pick for this guy. You weren't. You
I
weren't.
I would have doubted a day 2 pick, but, like, can
I
you
think the expiring contract is a big part of it because, like, the team
but
that is
hey,
trading for him is not getting him any. They are guaranteeing themselves 11 games with the guy.
yeah, but you're still paying for it though. Like, that's the other thing too. Is that,
But
like,
it's not that much. It's not like Cooper Kupp's deal. It's not that much. And the Titans
DeAndre
have all the room in the
Hopkins
world to pay for it.
DeAndre Hopkins' base salary is 8.3. We'll say 8.3 for easy math, and he's
Sure.
already played 6 games. So I don't know. I guess every player, you get a check on their bye week, don't you? Just
Yeah.
I think you do. So it's
Mhm.
divided by 18, not 17. So the bye week doesn't matter for this situation. So you're still paying. So you're gonna have to pay Diop not 100% of that base, but you're probably not gonna save but a couple mil, maybe, right, on this. I think they did not get enough with the trade in compensation if you're going to trade with the Death Star.
Well, so
If
and
you're
here's my
going
other
to make a
thing.
deal with the devil, you have to win the national championship, which I believe Philip Fulmer did in 1998. Because the only reason why the Tennessee Vols fans went through the hell that we have for the last 25 years is because I think Philip Fulmer made a deal with the devil, but at least he got a national championship out of it. All Ran Carthon has done with doing a deal with Darth Vader is a 4th-round pick, maybe.
Right. Here's my other point is that we've seen this in recent history in the NFL. Teams are becoming a lot more. I think front offices are becoming a lot more shrewd with their ability to tune out the noise, ignore the narrative element of a trade, and focus on themselves. It's like when somebody's been going through a rocky stretch of relationships, and then they finally get their head right, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to tune out the noise. I'm going to focus on myself for a little bit. We're going to better me.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen teams make moves that narratively tough look, and can you believe they do? I mean, shoot, how about the Vikings sending TJ Hawkinson to the Lions in season, in division, right? And and they were both relatively contending teams at the time and
Yeah.
still are. Like, you're seeing these kinds of moves that previously felt impossible. They would never trade in division. Well, they would never trade to the big bad Kansas City Chiefs. If it means bettering yourself, yes, they will now. Yes, they will. And this is an instance where the Titans are being honest with themselves, frankly. And I commend them for saying, you know what? Whether or not we have DeAndre Hopkins on our roster this season is not going to materially impact what our season really looks like. And we've got another really highly paid receiver on this team that we still have faith in. And,
They have to figure it out.
it's not like I know what we've seen from him so far, but for them on paper, they still have faith in him. They're not like, well, without D-Hop, we're destitute. No, we have Tyler Boyd and Calvin Ridley. We feel like as the Titans, we can make that work with these guys. And whether or not we send DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, they're still going to be front runners to win the Super Bowl. Now, does this make their job easier to win the Super Bowl for the Chiefs? Sure, because DeAndre Hopkins is a very good player. I'm not denying the fact that it makes them a better team. But the Titans are saying, who cares? We need picks. We don't care who they come from. I'm sure Ran Carthon called more than just a Kansas City area code when shopping DeAndre Hopkins around. I'm pretty sure this is the best they were going to do for a 32-year-old with the knee issue on an expiring contract. I think was a good choice. And maybe this is where we can transition to discussing whether or not what this means in terms of their signaling with the Will Levis experiment.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good place to go because I did see some comments earlier. We do have some super chats. I want to go ahead and get to our guy King VC's. It says lock in, like the show, so hit that like button. So appreciate you, King VC. I do want to go ahead and get to this. 07 certified on super chat says, right now, trade Treylon Burks to the Bucks and pick up Tannehill. So neither of those things are going to happen. Treylon Burks is on injured reserve, which makes
what are the Bucks going to send you?
I mean, Mike Evans,
cookies.
Mike Evans, injured reserve,
a bag of lollipops,
piece of paper.
Sure.
So like
an IOU on a sticky note.
You can't trade somebody who's on injured reserve. It is like against the rules of the league. I
don't even know that. That sounds right to me, but I don't know that for sure.
I'm feel pretty confident.
Yeah, probably not.
You cannot trade a player who is on injured reserve. Or
I'm not sure anybody's ever tried it, for what it's worth.
Yeah, because why would you try that?
Hey, can I have that guy that can't play right now? Give me that one.
Yes, and so Steven kicks us to this too. Actually, I'll get back to that in a second, but because Jeffrey's super chat, all the super chats, the last couple felt pretty related. So make a deal with any other team, but don't send them to a team that wins everything. Rain is cooking all right in a meth lab. F. Levis, I miss Ryan Tannehill. Is what he said there. So I'm going to get to this now because Steven, I believe, is answering the question of wrong to trade DeAndre Hopkins because now you can't evaluate. Is that what you read into Steven's comment as well? You can't evaluate Levis?
Steven, correct us if we're wrong, but this is about evaluating Levis. And what we've talked about on this show, Austin, all year is like, well, this is the reason you keep D-Hop is because he's Levis's best friend and he's a security blanket for your quarterback. And the point of the season is to evaluate that quarterback so you keep him around. So it's fair to now ask the question, what does that mean that they've moved him for the evaluation process? So all right, we can dive into that if you'd like.
Yeah, if you guys want to give your opinions, what does it mean for Will Levis that the Titans did trade away DeAndre Hopkins? But real quick, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, injuries happen in life, just like in football. You need to know who you can trust and who you can turn to. That is the dozen of doctors at the Bone and Joint Institute and all their great state-of-the-art resources and their facilities in Franklin off I-65 on Highway 96. boneandjointtn.org. I'm guessing that Chiefs fans will be curious about the DeAndre Hopkins knee injury. Well, we learned a lot about the MCL, so we have D-Hop to thank for that earlier this football season. But turn to the Bone and Joint Institute when you need them. Book an appointment online if you need, boneandjointtn.org.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. Austin rechecked the Titans-Lions line this morning. Still sitting right around that 11 number. Folks, head to the books. Titans are headed to Detroit. The Lions are another topic that came up in some conversations I had last night. And there were some strong words thrown around about the Lions, such as they absolutely should make the Super Bowl. This is the best team I've seen on tape all year. I concur with those thoughts from the folks I talked to last night. I think anybody that's watched the Lions this year probably concurs with those thoughts. The Lions are on a different level right now. They are a nightmare. Godspeed to the Titans this week.
Okay. All right. So
BetMGM, ATOZ Sports. Use that promo code. I didn't promote BetMGM at all in that sponsor read there. Sorry, BetMGM.
All right. So what does this DeAndre Hopkins trade mean for Will Levis and his Titans quarterback future? I don't know if you want to start, Easton, if you want me to start, or if you want the chat to kick us off. But
what's the chat saying here?
Yeah, let's see what the temperature of the chat is on this one. Because just to reset here, because we need people to like the show, but also DeAndre Hopkins traded this morning right before 6 a.m. Central to the Kansas City Chiefs. Not quite finalized yet. Last time I checked Twitter. But Diana Rossini says that the Chiefs expect DeAndre Hopkins to land in KC this afternoon and be ready to play Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. So what does this mean for Will Levis and his Titans quarterback future? Easton, what are you seeing from the chat on it?
I'm seeing a lot of things that you would expect to see. Steven says Levis is evaluated. He's not the guy. We suck from Marlon Todd. Still some Lions talk here. PPG83 says Lions minus 34. Let's see. Levis isn't the guy from Alex. I've been saying this since week 2. Basically the same version of that message from everybody that I'm seeing here, that the evaluation has commenced. There's no more to evaluating to be done. So
Do you mean
go
you
ahead.
mean to go? Do you mean to go?
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I agree. If Will Levis's evaluation was not nearly completed, then DeAndre Hopkins would not be traded yet. Look, there is still 2 more Tuesdays of tradability, right?
Right.
I was talking to an employee yesterday, Alexa Belcastro, is doing video content for AZSports.com. We were talking about, what these next Tuesdays / Wednesday morning, or when these moves happen, because it's player off days. It's a chance for front offices and teams to have these type of conversations. That's when they bring in players for workouts with injuries and all that. And so there's still time for this to happen. And so if Will Levis's evaluation was still up in the air, I don't think DeAndre Hopkins would be moved. I think this means that Will Levis's time is basically very limited to the end of this season with the Tennessee Titans. What happens in the offseason, I have no idea. I have a couple ideas, actually, but I don't know exactly what's going to come out of it. But all right, so let me say this. There is an alternate universe somewhere where the Titans started the season 1-0 and then had a 10-0 lead on the Jets. In that alternate universe, I don't know what happened after 10-0 versus the Jets, but I do feel like the Titans would have more than one win on the season. And Will Levis was the reason why they were not 1-0 and they did not have a 10-0 lead on the Jets. So I think if Will Levis played better football and did not cost the Titans points in a game or two earlier in the season, then DeAndre Hopkins probably wouldn't have been in the situation to decide he wanted to be traded in the fourth quarter in Buffalo. Again, this is just me trying to connect all the dots I possibly can. I'm not going off of any information, but I do think that Will Levis is extremely at fault here for DeAndre Hopkins wanting to go play football somewhere else for the rest of the season. And so I think for Will Levis, I think it signals that his time is very limited with the Tennessee Titans.
So I'm certainly not far off base with you. I think
Okay.
there's an important distinction here. We were talking yesterday, literally, about the future of Levis and this organization, where their head is at. Asked a telling question of Brian Callahan on Monday about ownership's opinion on this and whether or not the organization still stands by their stance. They're taking the patient approach with Levis and all of that. Moving Hopkins now, I think, basically tells us that they aren't done evaluating Levis, because if they were, they literally wouldn't play him. But they are done expecting to be building around him after this year. Does that make sense? Like their medium to long-term vision has shifted from, okay, what does it look like with Levis next year?
Okay.
To what does it look like beyond Levis? And hey, Will, we are going to stick by you. You've got 11 more games, big dog. Go out there, tear it up, change our minds. But right now, we are preparing to be done with you at the end of this season. And that means getting the most out of a 32-year-old wide receiver that we're not going to get anything for here in a couple games, and maybe some other guys that are traded in the next couple weeks. But I think they're saying, because if they are literally done with him, then I think it doesn't make any sense for us to say, well, they're going to play him the rest of the year, unless they're literally just going to openly tank.
Well, this is something.
Go ahead.
Do you think Will Levis is I'm gonna sit on this.
Uh-oh. You treading on dangerous.
No. I think it's I think Will Levis is on the Justin Fields path.
He's going to play for the Steelers?
No. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think
fans are going to be clamoring to keep him over Caleb Williams at the end of the year.
I think he is going to be a piece that will be moved in the offseason if the Titans have the chance to draft a quarterback. But again, it's not completely settled, because
but what that entails, Austin, is playing him 11 more games and hoping that he shows as much on tape as he can, right? Because you aren't moving him unless you can point to and say, look, it's not the top of the card.
I want people I want people to say Fields showed way more promise, Curtis. Like I'm not comparing the quarterbacks and their ability in the NFL. I'm
Right.
comparing their situations with the team that drafted them.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I'm doing here. So I think Will Levis is more likely to follow the Justin Fields pathway in the NFL than to be with the Titans next year.
So it sounds like you kind of agree with me that they're not literally giving up on him right now, but they are saying we're planning on
I
doing
think
things without you going forward unless you change our mind in the next 2.5 months somehow. They're basically saying we are preparing to be done. It's like senior year of high school. You're like, I'm in this class, but like I ain't focused on this class right now. I'm looking at the classes I'm taking in the fall up in Knoxville. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not super into your Calc 2 class, Miss Amy.
I think what I agree with most is that they are done expecting to build around Will Levis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with that because you can't tell the future. You don't know where you're going to be drafting. You don't know who's going to be drafting ahead of you. And you don't know how these quarterbacks are going to present themselves over the next, 7 months before the draft gets here. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to have to not slam a door shut blindly without knowing what's to come. Right. So I agree you're with your sentence of the Titans are done building around Will Levis, which I think is a good thing, in my opinion.
Sure. And to be clear, this is an opinion of mine and yours, but it's also based on things we've publicly heard from them in Monday's press conference, for example, based on a couple things that I've heard behind the scenes. They are not done seeing what they have in Levis. They may be done, banking on. They're certainly done banking on.
They're
him
done,
but they are not done seeing what he could potentially do the rest of the year. They're not done with that. I know they're not.
He is going to play games for the rest of this season. Absolutely.
But what I'm trying to say is he's going to play games for more than just the sake of losing them. You know what I mean? Like some teams will literally play a guy and be like, we're playing him because we don't want to win any more games. And we know we have in the guy. We're done. Like our minds are made up. Yeah. I don't think it's that far with them yet. Like, I don't think that they are expecting him to become anything, but I think that I have reason to believe they are still keeping an open mind and believe that he can show a lot better the rest of the year than he's shown so far. And they want to see it. I have reason to believe that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which again, does not mean they're going to do anything with him beyond this, but to your point, which I think is a really important one, for their sake and talk about getting as many picks as possible, wouldn't really hurt if, Will Levis really finished strong. In fact, it would be quite good, I think, because I don't think at this point even a strong finish is going to get any fans back in on him, but it certainly could get you a lot more for him if you look to move him, right?
Yeah.
Basically. The way that Fields finished strong, and it's like, well, he's kind of worth something now,
right? And the caveat to this is that the Bears had the Panthers pick, and they were able to truly not jeopardize their own draft selection by letting Justin Fields go win as many games as he possibly could.
Talk about leverage, right?
Yes. And so I think that's the difference here is that the Titans have to use their own draft pick to get the quarterback replacement if that's the direction they choose to go, which I think is trending that way.
So they're going to toe that line of Levis looking as good as possible without winning a bunch of games would be ideal. Yeah.
All right, A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. The story of the day is that DeAndre Hopkins traded this morning to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 5th-round pick that could become a 4th-round pick. Where I still have not seen any updates on the trade being finalized or the conditions of what would make this a potential 4th-round pick from Kansas City. I want to get to a couple more comments and a super chat here as we continue this conversation about 50 minutes into this thing. A lot more different directions we can take it. But real quick, I want to tell you guys all about our friends at T-Dot. T-Dot, are you ready to be rewarded for helping keep Tennessee clean? We've been talking about T-Dot, Nobody Trashes Tennessee's campaign for a couple months now. Join Nobody Trashes Tennessee's Trash Masters reward program by signing up. You can earn points for every action you take, from taking a litter quiz to participating in community cleanups. And those points, you can redeem them for fantastic prizes like discounts, tickets to local event, or exclusive Nobody Trashes Tennessee swag. It's Nobody Trashes Tennessee's way of saying thank you for keeping our state beautiful. Visit Nobody Trashes Tennessee and become a trash master today with NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Folks, go to your phones right now. Open that app store, search BetMGM, download that app, and when you sign up, use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's going to give you an insured first bet up to $1,500. So swing for the fences. Take a shot. And if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. The BetMGM folks will hook you up with a refund in bonus bets up to $1,500. But you have to use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
All right, so A to Z Sports here live on this Wednesday. I see a couple super chats I want to get to. Let's see. Steve says perhaps D-Hop had certain quarterbacks he wanted to play with, Mahomes being top of the list. Out of respect, Rand sent him there. I don't think. I mean, look, I think DeAndre Hopkins had a good relationship with. I mean, I'm not gonna say everybody, but like near everybody.
I mean, we know him in the front office. I mean, he and Rand had a very good working relationship. We know this.
And they clicked well. Like, I think the recruiting process that he and Rand and Vrabel and Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill went through last summer, it's crazy. Rand's the only guy left. Of all those guys recruiting DeAndre Hopkins, it's Rand Carthon as the last guy standing. So, like, I don't think that you're trading D-Hop to the Chiefs midseason because he wants to play with Mahomes instead of Baker Mayfield. I mean, I could be wrong, but and again, I still think they should have tried to leverage the Chiefs more, or trade him to somebody else, trade him to the Niners. Like, here's the other thing too. It's like, where did Rand come from? The Niners. And like Debo,
I wrote an entire article on it.
Yeah, Debo got released from the hospital, like I think yesterday, from his pneumonia situation. But Brandon Ayuk's torn ACL. Like, why? I think there could have been something. Like, how Rand is a man of relationships, right? So, if anything, Rand Carthon could have leveraged his own relationships with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and the Niners to get a better draft pick than the Chiefs. Do you think the Niners would love to say, "Hey, yeah, we'll help you out here with some negotiation power from the Chiefs"? We would love for the Chiefs to give you guys a higher draft pick, because nobody wants the Chiefs to succeed. So at least, like, if you're going to trade D-Hop to the Chiefs, if the Niners didn't want him, then the Niners could have played a little bit with you and said, "Hey, yeah, go see if you can get a fourth straight up instead of a conditional fourth."
And that's a great plan if it weren't for the fact that the Chiefs were willing to just walk away. Again, I think the Chiefs said, here's what we're willing to give up. If we want to talk D-Hop, cool. If not, no worries, man. Do you? I think the Chiefs are so comfortable in their own skin. I think that they were so genuinely willing. And I don't think they were bluffing. I think they were 100% willing to go the rest of the season. Maybe we'll trade for like Deontay Johnson or something, get some other little gremlin-y wide receiver, because that's what they've done their entire career and it's worked. I think that they had as much, if not more, leverage in this situation than the Titans did, no matter what the Titans did. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we'll find that out here in the coming hours and days. I'm expecting we'll probably know at least the terms by the end of the day. So that'll be interesting to talk about tomorrow.
For sure. Well, hey, Andre Easton got a lot of good point. Got a lot.
What a heartwarming story. Andre hated me for the first month of my employment here, and he's slowly coming around. I'm glad that we're now best friends, Andre. Can I ask you a question, Austin?
Bring it.
And maybe the answer is, shut up, Easton. We're talking about this tomorrow, but I'm going to ask anyways.
Okay.
Can we talk about what this means for the other receivers on the team?
Yeah, let's talk about this tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Because Brown, speaking of other receivers, Brown Higgins on YouTube says, get ready for Ridley trade. No, don't get ready for Ridley trade. You're wasting your time if you're preparing for a Calvin Ridley
Unpack your
trade.
bags.
Yeah, unpack that
put your clothes back in the closet.
Dehydrated food pack.
That's right.
Look, Calvin Ridley's not getting traded. It's impossible to trade him because of his contract. I will tell you this, that Sam Phelan is going to be working soon, if not already, on the players that are likely to be traded next from the Titans, because guess what this signals? Ooh, Titans are open for business. They just traded away DeAndre Hopkins. Let's call and see what else we can get, right? So Calvin Ridley is not going to be on that article that Sam writes, but other players will. I want to get to Kane as a super chat that I want to spend some time on, but I also want to bring up Andy's comment. that's just has some inaccuracies to it. Traded AJ, Henry, Byard, Hopkins. What's wrong with you, Tennessee organization? I don't know if this is a bot or AI or what, but the Titans did not trade Derrick Henry. They actually decided not to. They had a potential suitor for that, the Ravens, and they didn't do it. Yes, they traded A.J. Brown. That was dumb, and that was the previous general manager who got fired for that move. And then they did trade away Kevin Byard, which that was the correct move. Kevin Byard was on the decline, and I love KB. That's my guy.
Yeah.
But he was on the decline, and they got something for him.
1,000% the right move. Has aged well.
And trading DeAndre Hopkins while you sit at 1-5, going into the Detroit Lions building when you are going to be a 2-touchdown dog was the right move.
You need picks.
Yes.
You need picks. If they don't move guys right now, in 3 months, all of you are going to be in here saying, why are we talking Titans draft? They only have 6 picks. How much can you do in the? They need picks. They know they need picks. They want at least 8 a year. They have said so. They now have 7. Maybe they go get their 8 the next coming days. They need picks.
TK says, out of all the comments, read that garbage. Because the guy wouldn't stop spamming comments. He just kept saying dumb things. Sometimes I have to point out the dumb things so that
Austin's
we all
setting
can.
the precedent that if you
I'm just trying to make sure the majority of us can agree
anything
on things. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
All right.
So you heard the guy, guys. Just spam.
Kane's super chat says, why should the fans stay engaged? We know the team sucks and the season is over because we can spend our time on other things. So I want to say Kane brought this up Monday.
Okay.
With Zach and I. Easton, how would you answer Kane's question?
Sure. I mean, I totally get it is hard to, if your mentality as a football fan, as a Titans fan, maybe you're more of just a casual fan, you really enjoy them being a part of your life on Sundays, but then outside of that, you're doing other stuff with your life. It's a bummer when they're not winning games, when they don't look very good, when they're in turmoil. I get that. But if you're a fan that cares more than the casual fan about this team and you care long term, I think there are plenty of things that can keep you engaged. There are a lot of young, exciting players in this team, some that are going to get more opportunity now. And then if they continue to trade away other big pieces, you're going to see these guys, you're going to see the future of the Tennessee Titans get, it's not, I had somebody text me this morning, looking forward to the next 11 preseason games for the Titans. It's not going to be like that necessarily, but you're going to see a lot of guys that are the future. They're going to get a lot of really meaningful reps. Banking reps is the number one way to improve in the NFL, and they're going to get to do that. And you're also going to get to see Brian Callahan and a coaching staff that this team is not giving up on anytime soon. They're going to give him time to work it out. You're going to get to see them work it out in real time and have some, I think a lot of, let's go back to the 21 Lions, I think, Austin. They start 1-7, something like that. Dan Campbell's a new coach there, and there's a lot of.
Not last year, but the year before.
I think it was 3 years ago now.
Keep talking. I'll
you look it up. Whatever. Dan Campbell's first year in Detroit, whenever that was, they started 1-6, 1-7, something like that. I'd imagine plenty of fans were in their local shows like this saying, "Why should we care about the Lions in particular?" Because all they've done is that their entire my entire life. The reason is because you can finish strong. You can have so much, there's a lot of season left, folks. And I know that may scare you because it's like, crap, I have to watch a lot more Titans this year, but there's so much season left for them to change your disposition on them heading into 2025. This season, the goal is no longer playoffs. The goal is no longer competing this winter, but the goal, it's not like they are now aimless and they're just hanging around waiting for the season to end. They are now preparing to be as good a team as possible in 2025. And if you've watched the NFL for any amount of time, things change incredibly, incredibly quickly. It's where the Titans are right now, maybe in a different league. You'd say, well, this team, they can't possibly compete for another couple of years. In the NFL, you can go from a listless dumpster fire team to frisky and sneaky competitive and whoa, look, this team set up for the future in the matter of 2 months.
The Houston Texans.
In the matter of 2 months, everything can switch for you and you don't see it coming. And so that's why you keep engaged, is because things are going to happen that are interesting for the Titans this year.
Yeah. And so Eric says, so you're saying there's a chance. I mean, there's next a chance year. For what? There's a next chance year. To build. And Richie says, just ask the Commanders, right? I said the Texans, but look at the Commanders. The Commanders are absolutely that. Now they added some key pieces, but they had some exciting younger pieces that they had already been building and just needed a quarterback.
I don't think this is true from MB, by the way. It's not like you're watching a skeleton crew of the Titans that you're not going to recognize next year. The entire, I mean, most, if not all of the offensive line, right tackle, hopefully not, but the offensive line is going to be back next year. Calvin Ridley is going to be back next year. Tyler Boyd probably won't be, right? Tony Pollard is going to be back. Tajay Spears is going to be back. Chig and Josh Wiley are going to be back.
Yeah.
The receivers down the depth chart are likely to be back. Jaquan Jackson, obviously. NWI can't kill him. He'll probably be back. On the defensive side of the ball, Tavondre Sweat, hello, Jeffrey Simmons, unless they trade him, going to be on the team. They're either trading him or keeping him. He's going to be on the team one way or another. The Jerry Sneed on the team. That's talk about a contract you can't trade. Actually, the entire cornerback group besides Chido Awuzie going to be on the team. The safeties are going to turn over. The linebackers, you've got like 6 right now. A couple of them are going to stay on the team. Like this team, this is a team you're going to watch next year largely.
Yeah. You want to go back to the 2021 Lions?
Sure. What you got?
It was worse than you thought. They started 0-8.
Oh, cool. 0-8. They didn't even get one win.
Then the 9th game they tied. So they started 0-8-1. That's like the worst taste in your mouth. Then they lost 2 more games.
Who'd they tie?
The Steelers, 16-all.
Gross. Okay.
But they started 0-10-1 in Dan Campbell's tenure as the head coach. And then they went 3-3 down the stretch to finish 3-13-1. That's about as gross as you can possibly start a head coaching tenure. And it was in 2022 when they started 1-6, which is I think what you were thinking.
The next year.
And then they ripped off and finished 9-8 after a 1-6 start. So that's when you saw it really shift, and the Lions have become what the Lions are now. And so that, so it is that is the glass all the way full viewpoint of Brian Callahan is Dan Campbell.
Right. It's just the point that things can change overnight for you in the NFL. They can. Yeah. And Bossman pointing out, apparently, I got this wrong. I didn't know Uzzi's contract off the top of my head. Maybe he will be back next year.
Cheeto signed a 3-year deal.
My bad.
I don't know the details.
Further proving my point.
Yeah. Andre has a super chat, and that is the bottom line. J-Rob trades AJ and only drafts 4 good players in 3 drafts, and Molden is gone already. If you're adding Elijah Molden as one of those good players, then you're doing math wrong. That will sink any team or clawing out of it. So, Andre's point is correct. And I think you and I talked about this. I can't remember if it was on air or off air. We have so many conversations at this point, especially about this dumpster fire of a team. They're still climbing out of John Robinson's mistakes.
Yeah, man.
They are absolutely still playing catch up. Like the fact that they went the Isaiah Wilson draft pick is still why the offensive line is not better than what it is.
Yeah.
The Caleb Farley draft pick is why they had to go sign 2 corners to start this year, and why they had to go draft Jarvis Brownlee and draft more, other guys. Like, don't get me started on Traylon Burks, but I think you're still seeing so many of those mistakes that are compounded by not hitting the follow-up, right? Yeah. It's that they did not hit Dylan Radins, a 2nd-round tackle, to replace Isaiah Wilson. Yeah. So they had to continue to stretch and reach.
The front half of John Robinson's career as a Titans GM is much maligned. It was quite good. He was a very good GM. The back half of John Robinson's career with the Titans was Chernobyl. It was a disaster and meltdown that has now caused the next guy to have to come in and raise entire forests, kill all the livestock, remove the topsoil from the ground, and still the area is kind of unlivable. This is a situation that you're going to be dealing with longer than just containing the initial fire in the reactor core. And so, that this team's going to be a little radioactive for a little bit, but I think Ran Carthon is well on his way to. I know a lot of fans have a lot of opinions about Ran Carthon. I think that he's a process-oriented guy. I think his staff is good at what they do. I think maybe the free agency decisions we can question and have questioned, but as a drafter, I think he's got the goods. And I think this Titans team is going to be set up to have a couple really good drafts in a row.
Yeah. And, here's the reality of what the Titans right tackle position is so bad because John Robinson missed in a row on a 1st-round tackle, a 2nd-round tackle, and a 3rd-round tackle in 2020, 2021, and 2022.
I mean,
Isaiah Wilson, Dylan Radins, Nicholas Petit-Frere.
You're cooked.
You went 0 for 3 at tackle. Now, you might have found a guard in there.
I think you did find a guard, by the way.
But that's not what you were trying to fix.
No. People in
So
the comments impressed with my Chernobyl reference. I just finished the HBO series. That's why it's on my mind. Very good show, by the way.
Okay. And so dad, just straight up dad says, blaming Robinson at this point is not the reason we're on a 5-game losing streak for the Titans. You're not on a 5-game losing streak. That's God, like somebody said, like, I can't call somebody else's opinion dumb. No, I can call somebody else's opinion dumb when it's based on inaccuracy.
When it's just wrong.
When it's just factually incorrect. Like, oh God. Like, so.
Get out of my room, Dad.
All right. So.
But I mean, to his point, we're not saying it's all John Robinson's fault. Obviously, there are other real issues with this team that have nothing to do with John Robinson. It's just that's what has set us on this path.
It's the reality. It's still the reality.
It's what has set us on this path.
Okay. Easton, do we want to do trivia or do we want to get back to doing other content besides the show? Because we've talked DeAndre Hopkins and Titans for an hour and 5 minutes. Do we want to finish it with trivia or do we want? This is totally up to you.
I mean, I want to compete. I'm not scared to compete. Let's do trivia real quick. We can bang it out real quick.
We will do some trivia. So if you guys want to play some trivia, let's do it here to wrap up this Wednesday. County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. If you want to save some money, trade in, speaking of trades, make sure that you can trade in that current ride for your new ride in Lebanon online at Wilson County Hyundai. Easton, are you ready for the trivia action?
Let's do it. Let me show my screen here right quick as the dozen loads up for us.
Oh, no.
Don't look at the screen. Pay no attention to the men behind the curtain. There we go. There it is.
And now I lost the graphic. Okay.
All right. There it is. Okay.
All right. So we are going to do better than what we've done the last multiple weeks.
The goal is sub 3, no misses.
Let's go sub 4, no misses, because we need to get we rush too much. Okay, we're gonna start. Jody says geography, so we're gonna start with NFL, then we're gonna go geography, and then we're just gonna go around the edges there. So NFL, geography, TV, movies, and on so on. So
okay, ready?
We'll end with mashup. Okay, here we go.
NFL. Drafted in round 2 out of Arkansas in 2016, this Chargers tight end made an immediate impact as a rookie by catching 8 touchdowns.
I want to say this is. This isn't Hayden Hurst because he went to South Carolina.
Chargers tight end.
Hunter Henry.
Henry. That sounds right.
Yeah. I went HH Hayden Hurst. It was
Hunter. There you go. What is the state capital of Mississippi?
Biloxi? No.
It's
Jackson.
I think it. Now I'm second guessing myself.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Okay. Television. Set in Texas, this WBCW sitcom ran from 01 to 07 and starred a country music star playing a middle-aged mom whose life has been turned upside down. Reba. Pretty sure this is Reba. Should I wait for chat to confirm? I love Reba.
Okay.
It's Reba. Depicting a couple's divorce, Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep starred in this 1979 legal drama and Oscar Best Picture winner. Best Picture.
1970.
Not a huge Meryl Streep
1979 or 70?
Chat, 79. Chat, help us out here. Best Picture winner. Somebody should know. Kramer versus Kramer?
Is that a thing?
People are saying, yep.
Okay, Kramer versus...
That one, Best Picture? Wow, okay. Music.
Never heard of it.
Born in 91, this Norwegian DJ has multiple songs with over 1 billion Spotify streams, including Stole the Show, It Ain't Me, and Firestone. Oh. Norwegian DJ. 1 billion Spotify streams?
Born in 91. Kygo? Kygo.
Can somebody else in the chat confirm that?
Yeah. They're still in Kramer versus Kramer or something.
Yeah.
Avicii? Avicii. Avicii. So people are saying Kygo, though. Kevin says Kygo. Sean says Kygo.
If anybody's certain, say your answer and say I'm positive.
Oh, come on.
I don't want to lose on this one. We need somebody that knows. Surely somebody knows. Just 400 of you in here.
Orlando said Avicii says, don't quote me on that.
Okay,
So I think, do we go Kygo? Kygo.
Kygo. You want to send it?
Yeah, do it.
Sweet.
Oh.
Primarily consumed in the UK, this British baked corn snack is aimed towards children. It has flavors like pickled onion, roast beef, and spicy flamin' hot. Primarily consumed in the UK. Well, that's not very helpful to us, is it? British baked corn snack. Ray gun? Excuse me?
No Googling, Clayton.
Don't Google. We need
to it.
No. Monster Munch. Okay, he says he's British. We're trusting you. Nice. NBA. George Karl's final tenure as an NBA head coach was with this Western Conference team in 15 and 16. Ooh,
it's going to be the Nuggets. I think it's the Nuggets.
See if somebody in the comments can confirm that. George Karl with the Nuggets, people are saying. Feel good about Nuggets?
Yeah.
Ooh, people are saying Kings.
Kings? Kings was earlier. Nuggets.
All right, we'll go Nuggets.
Run left says,
oh, no. As a senior, Doug Flutie brought home the Heisman to this school in 84.
Do you know it?
I don't.
Boston College.
Boston College. All right. Celebrity mashup. Whoa.
Is it Jennifer Lawrence in the middle?
Yeah, I think so.
The outside looks familiar, but I can't think of it.
Brad Pitt?
No, I think he's in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
I know that.
Elon Musk? No.
John Hamm? That sounds right. John Hamm.
Hello? Am I spelling John
wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Double dip. And that would be the Sacramento Kings.
So close to a really, I mean, listen, sub 4.5, 1 miss. We can live with that.
Yeah, not my favorite, but we can be better. We can be better.
We can be better.
We will be better.
Certainly not our worst. Certainly not our worst.
No, definitely not.
We'll get back in the film room this week. We'll get it together.
Nick says Kygo is my 8th favorite Norwegian DJ. There you go.
8th favorite. All right. Tune in tomorrow. Nick's going to give us his top 7.
Yeah, right. All right, guys, that is it for us on this Wednesday. We do have a lot of content. Sam has content coming, a2zsports.com/Nashville. We've also got Instagram content as well out there surrounding the D-Hop trade. Buck Rising working on an article as well about Will Levis and his future. There's a lot to get to, so make sure you hit that like button on Facebook, YouTube, and like the show before you get out of here. So we appreciate you guys as always. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Sam will be on with me on a Thursday reacting to the next level of this D-Hop conversation. The Titans are practicing today, so we'll see some more from the availability and maybe get this thing finalized. So stay tuned to all A to Z Sports everywhere today throughout the day for D-Hop updates and Titans updates. We'll catch you guys later. Appreciate it as always.